I just want to start off with, take my hat off, and you're going to notice I have some hat hair. And again, lots of comments on me needing a haircut. But actually, I don't think it's too bad. At any rate, this time of year I tend to, I don't have as much bee stuff to talk about. So I don't have as many excuses to make videos. So I get lots of requests to answer questions or just to propose a topic for me to yap about, because everybody wants to hear details of business management and all this kind of interesting stuff. So I've just found 10 minutes from the farm, just letting the tractor warm up. I haven't been called to the farm because of any you see, we're heavy in calving right now. We're 150 calves on the ground, and what is it, minus 29 or minus 30 outside. The wind just picked up, so it's not going to be an easy day, but I'm not so much involved with the actual act of managing the calving aspect. I'm more so involved around the edges. Gondry manages a cattle farm, and he's got hired guys, and he maps out his day, and he could give a damn what I do. But I'm just here to, help out on the farm. Like, I'm always on call, just to go where it's needed. A lot of times, tractors don't start, or waters freeze up, or just stuff like that. That just kind of compounds the workload of the day, and that's where I generally come in, just to relieve some of that pressure at times. Even though they don't see me, I'm still there working around the edges. I do a lot of preparing a feed, spent a lot of time on that bloody grinder, and I've milled a lot of feed. So, just things like that, just to help the days go along. So that kind of leads into this. Marty had sent me an email, and he's asked me to comment on a few thoughts of his. Hello, Ian. I've been enjoying your channel over a year now. Great stuff. I know that in the winter you sometimes share your thoughts in extended videos. So here's a topic. Are family farms or small business farms sustainable? When I see all the hats that you're wearing, being president, planner, manager, vendor, customer relationship, management of the health of your bees, drive truck, sweep floor, knock mud off boxes, I question if this is the most efficient way to manage an enterprise of your scale. As a management consultant, all I see is risk, risk, risk. Here in the States, I read in the U.S. Agriculture Secretary, family farms might not survive. And then comes a question of succession planning. Were you able to transition your... And then comes a question of succession planning. Were you able to transition to your generation? But what happens next? I appreciate the videos, and I will continue to watch. Marty from Atlanta, Georgia. Please take care of our hockey team. So that is a very interesting question you've proposed, and I feel very strongly about this. I feel that the notion of family farms is a romantic thought. Everybody wants to have that family farm, produce the food for the countryside. It's kind of that romantic notion of agriculture. But I feel that maybe family farms just title themselves as such, just to try to, embrace or retain that public trust. Family farm, small business, I think it's the healthiest healthiest setup function to be able to provide the needed sustainability across our landscape. Like if I'm looking at our farm situation right now, and everything is getting consolidated, and everything is getting bigger, and as everything gets bigger, everything is streamlined, larger equipment, business dynamics. It switches the whole mindset to more dollars and cents instead of, maybe some of those micromanaged sections within your farm. I just feel that smaller farms and more of them are healthy for the general environment within that area, if you know what I mean. Like a smaller farm is going to be more diversified typically. You're going to have cattle, might have some chickens. The old-fashioned farm, the old homestead, you had cattle, you had chickens, you had horses, you had pigs, you had honeybees. So you had to manage your property to be able to suit every one of those enterprises on your farm. So then you took your piece of land, you took the best piece, you put it towards your grain farm, you took your marginal pieces, we put to more hay or pasture, and then you left your natural places just because maybe you pastured some of that, or the hard to manage places was just left to the actual act of nature. It's just too hard to manage, so it's just left alone. I feel, and that's the best thing when you look in regards to the sustainability of the classic natural aspect of our world. But when you look at it to sustain our human population for food, it just dramatically increases the cost of food because you need more dollars to be able to run smaller farms because they're much more inefficient. That's probably an argument to be made, but I feel that you need more money to be able to sustain smaller little pieces because you just can't bring in these efficiencies which are so costly, which you have to spread out over numbers or acres just to be able to drive the costs down. It's kind of a cyclical problem actually. So in the sense of sustaining our populations, it's pretty much what you call a cheap food policy. We need cheap, high quality, available food at all times. We have to produce. We have to be able to pump out the food to be able to feed the planet, right? And you're not going to do that with small farms. You're going to do that with larger farms. You're going to do that with farms which can, cover the acres, which can, take on more risk, take on more debt to be able to bring in the investment, to be able to bring in the efficiencies, to be able to manage the operations with much better margins, and then in a sense more profitable, which is, like I was saying, a cyclical problem because you need more production. To get that production you need to be more efficient, so you need more investment in technologies. So the farmer's taking on more financial risk to bring in these efficiencies to be able to produce more crop, which is paying more out to the economy to be able to provide those all those tools for his trade, and it just allows that price to keep ticking down as these larger businesses can stay in business to provide that product as that price continues to scale down. So it's not an answer that I'm going to be able to solve, but it's just a situation we're in. And the only way we can push against that is if either government supports small farms, keeps them solvent, because small farm cannot compete in the marketplace where these large farms are driving the price. Or consumers. Consumers are the most powerful force within the economy. It's their spending dollar. And if they give a damn, they would support the smaller venue. They'd support the smaller farm and just allow them to prosper, which means the consumer would have to pay more. So, you're questioning, you're looking at our farm, is this the most feasible way to run our farm? Absolutely. Right now, our capability, we are competing against the big farm. We're trying to maintain solvency in a situation which is terribly competitive. And the only way we can do it is by, like my brothers and I, have brought all of our inheritance together. We've brought all of our efforts together. We've kind of like pooled our capital to build to, extend ourselves out to bring in those efficiencies, invest into the equipment and the facility to be able to manage our operations more effectively and more efficiently. And it involves a tremendous amount of effort, which we completely embrace. We're not scared to work here in the farm. Actually, we love it. It's just part of our lifestyle. But to be able to achieve what we are, we have to put the time in. We have to put the effort in. And we cannot let up, not even for a little bit. And it doesn't make it easy, and we're not asking for it, but it's just the way it is. So that means, I'm wearing many hats. I'm acting as president of the farm, just general management of the finances, the debt, the cash flow, the budgets, the planning. That's president's job. We individually have our own management responsibilities within our enterprises. Like I'm the beekeeper, and Andre's the cattle manager, and Adam's the grain farm manager, and we just we allow each other to manage our own operations, brought together every week and annually at a table to be able to discuss the direction of the business, right? But we all have kind of our own independence in how these are being managed. So I'm not interfering with Andre, and Andre's not interfering with me, and I'm not interfering with Adam. But we are all directing the the forward motion of our farm together. So we're spending our money. So together we plan to spend our money, and how we're gonna bring in the capital investment, and how we strategize to execute our plan. So that's all together, directed from the top. We're all directors, but then the individual managers have a little bit of autonomy there just to be able to direct their day. And it works out all right. Fluid communication is huge when it comes to being able to address and manage situations like our farm. But what I was saying, like wearing different hats, that's what you got to do. Like you got to get out there, and conditions are tough, so you're going to shovel that bin full of grain, or you're going to, I got to pick up my hives. Situations dictate it. I got to, pry them off the ground and scrape mud off the runners. We got to do this work ourselves. Larger farming enterprises, they'd have hired guys doing that, and they'd have, maybe better facilities, so it would avoid some of these awkward and unfortunate situations. But that's just life, and we got to deal with that. You'd asked if family farms will survive, and the path agriculture is going, even though it's a family managing the farm, it is going to, I think the better question is smaller farms going to survive? And the way things are moving forward, I would say no. Everything is going into big ag. They always say it's big ag, big investment, big corporation, big business, lots of acres, lots of cows, lots of bees, management, shareholders, employees, bring in your labor force, efficient equipment, facility, that's the direction business is going in the agricultural landscape. But I do feel that there's pushback on this. I do feel that consumers want that romantic notion of smaller operations supplying their food source, because they don't trust large business. For some reason, we all don't trust large business, because we always feel that the best interests of the operations of those businesses are financial related, and especially when we get multiple shareholders, it becomes very short-sighted. Whereas the general public, consumers feel maybe more, they have more trust towards smaller operators because they're more connected to the actual act of management. Maybe there's a sense that we're more connected to long-term planning. Sustainability becomes a big issue, so that relationship between the farmer and the consumer is very important, and that's public trust. And it's that public trust that might drive the direction of the future of how things evolve here. And if the public gives a damn, like they pretend they do, then they will, pass on that dollar to legitimate business owners that are managing their operations the way they feel that it should be run. So I pass a lot of this responsibility on as social responsibility, where society has to decide what the hell they want and then move on that, right? And that's dictated by the dollar. So anyways, that's a little bit of rambling for the day. I got to get back to work. The tractor will be warmed up. I'm going to do some snow blowing before I head out to mill some grain. And just see where the day leads.